Geekazine and Geek Smack is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network over at techpodcast.com. If it's tech, then it's here. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are on episode number 200 of Geek Smack, Geekazine podcast, whatever you want to call it. We're at 200, and we're going to be getting to you right now, and we're brought to you this week by Audible.com. Go over to audiblepodcast.com/Geekazine for a 14-day free trial and download one of your favorite books in audio format. Also by Roku, go over to geekazine.com/Roku, geekazine.com/Roku. Get yourself a Roku. Of course, it helps Geekazine and Geek Smack. Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, your 200th episode. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, my name is Jeffrey Powers. You are down here in the Geek Bar at the Geek Studio with the Geek Me and Geek You, and you're geek and we're geek. Everybody's a geek, and now we're celebrating 200 of the Geekazine weekly podcast, or Geek Smack, or whatever you want to call it. We had 200 episodes come and go, and now we're on 200, so thank you very much. Of course, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. We're going to talk about all the cool stuff over at Geekazine, what has happened over there. But let's get into the news, because we got a lot of cool stuff. Well, there is one thing I want to show you here. This is really cool. The guys over at the at motherboardgifts.com, let me switch over to this camera, said, hey, you're celebrating 200 episodes. Congratulations. So they gave me this, which is pretty cool. It's a little card holder. You see the Geekazine stuff. There's a engraved Geekazine up there. Down here, we've got a little motherboard there. And it's pretty cool. So I've got my business cards in there, and I'll be using that when I go out to San Francisco, which I'll talk about in a minute here. But if you want to get something geeky like this, go over to motherboardgifts.com. And they got a lot of cool stuff. They got these pencil holder, cup holders. They have pictures in them. They have CD holders. They have keychains. They have ornaments for Christmas time. They got bill holders and stuff like that, little clipboards. I used to actually have a legal size clipboard that was a motherboard one time, like years ago. And I cherish that. That was one of my favorite things. Of course, I don't use a clipboard anymore, but I do use a card holder. So I've got that there. So if you want to check that out, go over to motherboardgifts.com. Thank you very much for the 200th gift. Of course, if you want to give me a gift for the 200th show, let me know. Got a lot of thank yous, a lot of congratulations from everybody. Thank you very much for all the congratulations. Of course, Norbert Davis from Totally Cool Tech also sent some congratulations. If you remember correctly, he was actually part of this podcast at one point in time. So thank you very much, guys, for all the warm wishes. Episode number 200. And of course, we're just going to grow. We're going to go to 300, then we're going to go to 400, then we're going to go to 500. Geekazine.com is where you go for everything and anything you need for Geekazine. You can subscribe to the show notes. We're still trying to switch over to the right email aggregator, and then we're going to get you the show notes in your email. Of course, we're going to send out the show notes today, and then you'll get those and then go from there. But anyway, you go over to Geekazine, subscribe to the show notes. Of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We just switched over. If you're watching the old version of the YouTube channel, you need to go over to the new version of the YouTube channel, because it's now youtube.com/Geekazine. Unfortunately, there's no easy way to do it. They won't let you transfer anything. They won't let you flip anything or anything like that. So I can't just take all the videos and push them over to Geekazine. I'm going to talk to YouTube, and I'm going to see if there's a way that we can do this, because I need to transfer everything over. And I've got hundreds of videos that need to go over. So we're gonna work on that. But right now, youtube.com/Geekazine is the new home for Geekazine and all the Geekazine properties, including Geek Smack, the 5 tech things you should know about, and the Geekazine special media feed. So, all right, hey, we are on episode number 200, and next week, just so you know, next week there's going to be no show because I'm going to be out in San Francisco with Adria Richards for TechCrunch Disrupt, and we're going to be doing a ton of stuff. I'm filling my schedule big time. Get there on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we're going to Petaluma to go check out the Twit Brick House. And when that's done, then figure out some stuff. And then it's over at the Design Center in San Francisco. We're going to spend time at TechCrunch. We're going to get lots of interviews. We're going to check out some of the keynotes and go from there and just get content galore. And then once we're done, we're going to put it all together and get it to you as quick as possible. There are some other opportunities that I'm going to get while I'm out there in San Francisco. And we might do some OTT stuff. We might do some other video too. And if I do have time, maybe I'll put out episode 201, but highly doubtful because it's just going to be a jam-packed week. So, but anyway, just so you know, that's what's going to happen here. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, let's get into your Tech Smack for this week.
Tech Smack.
All right, we're going to start over at, I guess I didn't position that camera right. We're going to start over at Reuters.com. Sprint is going to sue to block AT&T's proposed T-Mobile buy. Of course, everybody's complaining about it. It's like T-Mobile and AT&T together. Basically, what's going to happen, what people are complaining about is simply that by them merging, there's only 3 main large companies that will give you phone service. That'll be AT&T, that'll be Verizon, that'll be Sprint. So now out of those 3, there's a chance that prices could rise. And that's where the issues come in. That's why Sprint's doing it, because they could lose market share off of that because everybody might move over there as opposed to Sprint, who's kind of flailing a little bit. Anyway, I personally am not too upset with this. And I'm going to, once again, I've talked about this before. I'm going to tell you again. 10 years ago, there's a document out there, a website out there, that catalogs it. It was the top 10 cell carriers out there. And out of the top 5, 2 of them, one went to Verizon, the other one went to Sprint. So now it's AT&T's turn to gobble up another faction or another cell provider or something like that. And now they don't like it. I don't get it. What were they upset when Nortel was purchased? Were they upset when Vonage was purchased? What about these other ones? But the most important thing is it also means that another company could step up and get into the game, like U.S. Cellular, which is Midwest. And hey, they have the opportunity, and they could do it, and they could become the number 4 carrier, probably in a year or 2. So I know there's a lot more to this, and we could go back and forth. Why you like it? Why you don't. Let me know why you don't want this merger to happen by twittering me over at Geekazine or geekazine@gmail.com. In the meantime, go over to Reuters.com. You can read the whole article right there on how Sprint is blocking. All right, let's move over. Let's move over to PC Mag and PCMag.com. And Google is cleaning house. They've decided they're going to shut down some products. Things like Aardvark, things like what's the other ones? I went a little bit too fast. Google Desktop, Google Pack, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But the bottom line was, out of all of this stuff, all these products, did you actually use them? I know that I went through the list and it's like, yeah, I don't use that. I don't use that. I don't use that. I don't know. What have you used it? Are you upset that these little items are going bye-bye, or you like, okay, it's not a big deal? I don't know. I suppose. Okay. If you want to read more on it, go over to PCMag.com, but I just don't see something that I would be really upset if it disappeared tomorrow. Let's just put it that way. Moving over to cnet.com, the suspects on the iPhone prototype case have pled not guilty. And basically, they're two men that what they did was they found the iPhone and then they tried to sell it to Gizmodo. So they pled not guilty to actually getting this iPhone and getting the opportunity to make some money off of it. And we're talking the iPhone 4, by the way. We're not talking the iPhone 5, which apparently was lost this weekend once again. And except Apple had the ability to go and find who had it, where it was used last, and do a little CSI action there. So I don't know. As things go with the iPhone 5, we'll let you know. But for this, were they guilty? Were they not guilty? Are they just capitalists? I don't know. I would have taken a picture of the iPhone 4, and I probably would have called Apple and said, "Hey, I have your iPhone 4." I had a little fun with it. Maybe made a video or two myself, but I don't know. I don't think I would have sold it to Gizmodo or anything like that. What are your thoughts? Let me know. Go over to Twitter me at Geekazine or geekazine@gmail.com. All right, let's move on here. Is your business permanently closed on Google Places? Apparently, Google found out that some people have been gaming the system. What they found that they would actually go to a rival or something like that and say, no, this place is closed, this place is closed. And then Google will go, oh, it must be closed, and then closed it. Apparently, they found out that people are doing this, so they decided, well, we better turn around and we better make good of this, because people are putting together stuff for this Google Places. They're paying for this Google Places, so they want everything good. So they're putting in new protocol, so somebody just doesn't come along and say, yeah, that place is closed. You might as well just turn that out. It's closed. It's no longer there. So you might want to check. In the meantime, go over to PCMag.com. If you use Google Places, you might want to check to make sure that your business was not affected by this. Epson comes out with some new stylus, NX430 all-in-one printer. It's a space-saving computer. It's a smaller, space-saving printer. It's a smaller printer. Machine measures at 15.4 inches by 11.8 inches and 5.7 inches. Weighs only 9 pounds and integrates with the Epson wireless connectivity, which we talked about in weeks past. Just switched over. They just got the Android version. You get it on your iPhone, you download it, and then when you take a picture, you can actually have those pictures printed out, which is pretty cool. So if you want to read more about that, go over to slashgear.com, and you can get that information there. Going over to BBC News, there's some web certificates that were stolen. Now, interesting stuff here. We're going to switch over here. They believe that the digital IDs were being used to trick computers into thinking they were directly accessing sites such as Google. And so they've been popping up here and there. So just a little bit of word of warning, if something just doesn't feel right, get off of it. Close out your browser, go back into the browser, and then go to the website itself. If you're not sure if you're on google.com, for example, close out of the browser, go back into the browser, and then type in www.google.com, and then that'll take you there. But if you do have any questions of any infection on your computer, take it to your local IT person, have them diagnose it. Because the last thing you want to have is your site, your information phished, and basically lose money or lose anything out of this situation. So check it out. Go over to bbc.co.uk for more information. Mashable's talking about the Google Plus Power User. Basically, there's a suggested users list that Google's been talking about with Google Plus, and we've all been kind of on, this. We don't need to have people suggest who we should follow. We know who we follow. And yeah, it's every now and then it's nice to have something. Yeah, okay, I'll follow this person. I'll follow this person. I'll see him on the suggested users list. But for the most part, we know to follow Leo Laporte. We know to follow Robert Scoble. We know to follow Madonna. We know to follow Lady Gaga. Why do we need to be reminded that these are the people that need to be followed? I got on Google Plus and I said, if you took this suggested user list and actually set it up so if I press the X on a person, that face doesn't show up again, at least for a little while. Because that's the one thing I hate is when I go to a site and there's suggested users and I say, no, I don't want that suggested user, so I close it out to try and find other suggested users. But then when I refresh the page or go to a different page or something like that, that suggested user just right back on top of the list. It's like, I don't want that person. Not that I have a problem with that person. It's just that I don't know that person. I don't know. So that's the biggest problem I have with suggested user list. And I'm glad that the general population is revolting on this too, because I call it old social network ways. Let's get into new social network ways because that's where we're going to see some really cool stuff come through. Anyway, Mashable.com for that article. Finally, Amazon's. We're doing a rumor. We're doing a rumor. Let's do a rumor. The rumor is that TechCrunch is coming out with an Amazon Kindle tablet. They've seen it and they've played with it. They're calling it Amazon Kindle. So, yeah, it's Kindle, probably Kindle 3 if you really want to put a disseminating change, whatever, on it. So, it's out there in the wild. And so Amazon will probably be getting in the tablet game. It just makes sense. It really, really makes sense for Amazon to get into the tablet game and change the Kindle into something more than just an e-reader. They've got a good mark on the e-reader. They've got a good market there. They can probably get enough people out there. The Color Nook, I've been very impressed with the Color Nook. And like I said a week or two ago, if they would have offered a discount on the Color Nook, I would have ended up buying a Color Nook. Because I am impressed with what they do on the Nook. So can't wait to see what the Kindle's going to do. The biggest question is simply, are they going to put Flash on the Nook? And I really, 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 really hope they don't put Flash on the Nook. Or I'm sorry, on the Kindle. Because that just always seems to be one extra little step. And I don't want that extra little step. Do you? Let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine or geekazine@gmail.com. That is the end of the Tech Smack part of it. We're going to get into the Geek Smack part right after this. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Of course, Geek Smack is brought to you by audible.com. Go over to audiblepodcast.com/Geekazine. And with that, you're going to get yourself a free download and a 14-day free trial, which is great. It's a great way to listen to books. I don't read that much. I mean, I got all these books over here, but I'd like to listen to books. So to try and get me going, I read and listen at the same time. That way I feel like I'm actually accomplishing something in the literary world. They got a lot of great people reading off these books as well. And it's just an amazing little product right there, audible.com. And you can get yourself a free trial, 14-day free trial on audio download. You can put it on your iPhone. You can put it on your iPad. Listen while you're in the car. Listen while you're on a plane. Listen while you're in the gym, wherever you are. You can get that there by going over to audiblepodcast.com/Geekazine. And that gets you, once again, a 14-day free trial. Of course, this week we're also brought to you by Roku. Get yourself one of the all-new Roku 2s out there. If you go over to geekazine.com/Roku, that makes it easy. And of course, it helps support Geek Smack and all the Geekazine properties there. And you can get Angry Birds. There are some other great games coming to Roku. I know that they just signed with a company, put on some brand new games. Texas Hold'em, some Bubble Babble thing where you have to switch diamond, or no, there's a diamond game where you switch the diamonds to make 3 in a row. And then there's one where you shoot little bubbles to create 3 bubbles. So there are games over on Roku, plus the movies, plus the Netflix, plus the Amazon, plus the Crackle, plus Geek Smack, and all the other shows on the Tech Podcast Network, like Caffeination Podcast, Geek News Central, Waves of Tech, Totally Cool Tech. You name it, it's over there, and it's over on Roku, and it's one of the best boxes that I've ever gotten. Cut your cord by going over to this great system over at Roku.com. Remember, go over to Geekazine.com/Roku, and of course, that helps the Geekazine properties, and that's over at Roku.com. Geek Smack Crap. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's another episode of Geek Smack Crap, where we find cool crap that you could buy for you and your families and your loved ones and so on and so forth. We're going to start over at ArchieMcPhee.com. Now, not everybody can grow what I grow, everything like this. But even if you like it, you don't like it, that's a different story. Some of you have your opinions. That's understandable. I know there's times that I wish I'd kind of just go. Hey, there's a scissors right here. Look at this! Oh no! I'm not gonna do it. Anyway, but I could take the mustache is I could keep that, and I could actually do a little handlebar thing like that, and I could look a little French for you. But hey, if you can't make a mustache like this, then you can get a mustache like this. And that's what Archie McPhee gives you over here, where they're showing off. What's that? That's interesting. Anyway, they're showing off the super awesome tentacle mustache. Yes, you can get yourself a mustache made out of tentacles. I don't know, they got suction cups. It's kind of weird because of the little thing that you stick in your nose or something like that. But when you want a suction cup on there and stay on there, that's the idea of tentacle mustache, right? I don't know. It's a fun little thing. Halloween's coming up, so this is a great little item to get. If you don't want to really dress up, $4.02. So it's actually pretty darn cheap. So, if you're in space and you're saying, "Hey, I can't find the nearest planet," or "Hey, you're lost in space," why don't you get yourself your own B9 robot? Yes, you can get the B9 bubble-headed booby robot for only 25,500 pounds. That converts to somewhere around a lot of money, something like $45,000 or something like that. Anyway, I can show you the prices in euros and US dollars for the current conversion. Let's do that. All right, so $41,310, and you can get yourself a Lost in Space B9 robot. Unfortunately, will it actually say Danger Will Robinson, or will it actually call me by my name? Danger, Geekazine, Danger. I don't know. Anyway, if you've got $41,000 lying around, please, I could use it. Support the Geekazine Geek Smack podcast, and then you can get yourself a Lost in Space B9 robot to boot. So, but if you really want to spoil your kids more than you spoil yourself with a B9 robot, you're not going to be lost in space. You might as well go over to Gizmo, where you can get your kids a $20,000 Playhouse. Oh my goodness. Does this thing come with heat? Does this thing come with a fireplace? What? But yeah, they start at $19,999 for the Grand Victorian, and you can get your kids their own little house, I suppose, and where they can play and they can read and stuff like that. Then again, if you're going to give me $20,000, I do have a little bit of carpentry skill. I could make you a Grand Victorian house. Just, let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine saying, "Hey, build me a house," geekazine@gmail.com, and I'll build you a Grand Victorian house. It might not look exactly like that, but, still pretty darn close. A couple cardboard boxes, cut out windows. That's close enough, right? Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, that's your Geek Smack crap for this week.
Geek Smack.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, before we get into the Geek Smack, we've got to give away a prize. And that prize is a Roku 2. I talked about this before. Of course, we ran a contest here on Geekazine, on Geek Smack, and basically you had to answer two questions. First question, When was the first episode of the Geekazine Weekly podcast created? Question number 2. When did we switch over to Geek Smack? Well, the answers were pretty straightforward. You could have went to geekazine.com, went down the list, found it. It took about 5 minutes. 5 minutes at the most. And you could win yourself a Roku too. Well, a lot of people have, and the answers, simply put, we got this in the show notes here, so you're going to have to go over the show notes. I'm going to make you go to the show notes to see what the answers are. So go over to geekazine.com and you'll know the answers. 4 years, actually it'll be 4 years come next month. It was the first recording of the Geekazine Weekly podcast, and then it was still called the show. We'll talk about that in a little bit later. But we went through the list here, and I want to, I got some of the entries. We went to random.org. I went to random.org, excuse me. And out of the entries of all the correct answers, there were a couple incorrect answers. I did a random. And usually what I do is I put in the number 1 to 4, and then I randomize 3 times. That's that. I've always done that way, and it's not changing. So, but out of all the names, Matt Brodier, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Matt, congratulations. You have won yourself a Roku 2 from the contest. So congratulations. And of course, thanks a lot for entering, and everybody that entered the Geek Smack contest. We're going to be doing some more Geek Smack contests in the future there. But right now, congratulations to Matt. I'll send you an email a little bit later. We'll talk and we'll get you a Roku 2 Toot Suite in the suite of Toot Suite. I don't know. Anyway, that's that. So congratulations to Matt. Now let's get into your Geek Smack smackety stuff. I'm not ready here. And we're going to start over here. One of the cool things about doing the 200th episode was, and I also do the Day in Tech History, is I keep up on some of the history of geek stuff too. And one of the things tomorrow was 42 years ago, the first ever Monty Python and the Holy Grail, or I'm sorry, Monty Python's Flying Circus, started. They started the show 42 years ago. So thanks for all those fish. If you don't get that reference, then sorry. But anyway, so here we are over at the global headquarters. Let's unstretch that. Global headquarters for Monty Python. I'm just linking to there. You can check out all the cool stuff that's going on over at Monty Python. I just got done watching. His name's escaping me, and they don't have it written here. Terry Jones. Thank you. Anyway, he did some video where he's talking about Roman times and stuff like that. He does a lot of history stuff, and I'm really digging that. So, of course, check out all the other Python people that are out there. John Cleese, he's big on Twitter. He's big on Facebooking and sending stuff out. Eric Idle, he's doing some stuff. He's got Eric Idle online. Of course, check out some of the others out there. So pretty cool stuff. So check it out over at pythonline.com, the headquarters for Monty Python. All right, GameStop is affirming that they've decided, maybe this mobile gaming actually is not a fad. So they're planning to sell iPhones, iPods, and iPads so they could actually start doing some different games. It's reported over on 9to5 Mac. Of course, we have this over on TechCrunch. So we might just see the gaming industry on tablets and mobile phones take a new turn, because now how game companies are really starting to adapt it. I have a friend. He does motion capture, and he's working with some other people on creating a Facebook game. Well, that Facebook game's got to be mobile, and then creating mobile, and then creating a tablet game. It's inevitable, Mr. Anderson. We're creating for these devices, and we've got to make some good, compelling games that can run off of the processors that they have. Because let's face it, a tablet processor is not going to be as fast as a laptop processor. Not yet. Give it some time. So, anyway, if you want to read more on that, go over to TechCrunch.com, and you'll find some more information about there. Let's move over to the bbc.co.uk. Some weird noise going on. I don't know if you can hear that or not. Sounds like we having an earthquake or something? I don't know. Anyway, there might be some construction going on outside. Apologize for that. Anyway, go over to bbc.co.uk. The tanks are testing what's called infrared invisibility cloak. Apparently, you can see it via infrared, if you're trying to look for stuff via infrared, you won't be able to see it, or harder to see it. It's camouflage. It uses hexagonal panels, or pixels made out of material that can change temperature quickly. 1,000 pixel panels, which is about 14 centimeters across, and put onto a small tank. And apparently, it's a little bit more stealthier. So all you military geeks out there will be able to take tanks into the zones and kind of attack early. I don't know. Anyway, if you want to read more about that, go over to bbc.com.uk. All right, for all you history buffs out there, if you know who Edward Ned Kelly is, then you're pretty good. Mick Jagger played him. Heath Ledger played him. So he's basically an outlaw from the Old West. Well, there was a lot of question. They found a body. They had to figure out who it was, and it was confirmed via DNA sample that Ned Kelly was the outlaw identified. And so they found his remains, and so they basically discovered him. So anyway, if you want to read more about this, I got this linked up into the show notes. You can check it all out from there. For all you dog geeks out there, there's a Colorado dog that's a little bit famous now. A little bit famous because he has the longest ears, and the Guinness Book of World Records is acknowledging that in the 2012 Guinness World Records. It's the longest ears on a living dog. His left ear is 12.25 inches, and his right ear is 13.5 inches, 34.29 centimeters long. So you know what this means. This means that people are going to come out with their dogs and saying, hey, measure the ear. Measure the ear. This dog's ear is longer than that. And I bet you we'll see a couple other dogs come out and go from there. But congratulations to Jennifer Wirt and her dog, which... what's the dog's name again? Didn't say. I thought it did have the name of the dog. But anyway, Tigger, that's right. So congratulations to Tigger and Jennifer for the longest ears. I got pretty long ears. Do your ears hang low? Do they wobble to and fro? Do you tie them in a knot? Do you tie them in a bow? You throw them over your shoulder like a continental soldier. Ears hang low. I don't know. If you're a Count Chocula freak, you go over to Neatorama.com. You can get yourself a Count Chocula plush doll. Blah. Of course, Count Chocula, you had Frankenberry and you had Booberry, which Booberry wasn't as popular as Frankenberry. I remember a fourth one, but I don't see that anymore. But anyway, if you want some plush dolls, of course, the Angry Bird plush dolls have been kind of popular, so why not put it into different characters? So you can get yourself a nice little Count Chocula plush. It's only $9.95, which is pretty cool for all you geeks out there. If you're a Beatles geek, go over to Neato Shop and you can get yourself a Yellow Submarine tin tote, kind of like a lunchbox. I don't know if there's a flask or a thermos in there. More a flask than a thermos, I suppose. But it's shaped like the Yellow Submarine and it's got all the Beatles stuff on there. It's only $14.95, which is pretty cool. So if you're a Beatles geek and need to put this into your collection, go for that, and you can check that out over at NeatoShop.com. Finally, happy birthday to Freddie Mercury's. Now, it's saying here 65th birthday, but I thought it said 60th birthday on another site, so I'll have to double check on that. But basically, Freddie Mercury, who died of AIDS in 1991, would be 60 or 65, one of the two. And so Google did this Google Doodle. Let's go over to google.com. Let's see if we can see a little bit of it. And I don't want to go there. I want to go here. There's the Google Doodle. And of course, if you press on the play, it's going to show you a little video of Freddie Mercury. It's actually pretty cool, except the one thing that I really didn't care too much for was Google did a lot of pasting of Google stuff in there. I suppose since they put it onto their webpage, They might as well put more Google into it. So, but it's pretty cool how they did that little animation there. And of course, the Google Doodles are always pretty cool to watch. So if you want to check that out, just go over to google.com and let's turn off that. Anyway, go over to google.com and you can get more and check out the Freddie Mercury Doodle. And of course, they do doodles almost every single day. So you can see what's going to happen tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. Anyway, that's the end of Geek Smack. I hope you enjoyed that. We will be right back with some more with the feature, which is basically Happy Birthday. Anyway, we'll be right back. Geek Smack is also brought to you by Stitcher. The audio version is over on Stitcher. Go over to stitcher.com/geek. Stitcher.com/geek. Enter in your email address. Download the application for your Apple, your Android, your BlackBerry, your WebOS. Well, soon, no WebOS. But anyway, you can download that and you get a chance to win $100. It's all from Stitcher and Geekazine. So go over to geekazine.com/geek. Enter in your email address and download this great way to listen to all your podcasts in a mobile way over at Stitcher.com. You're listening to the show. This is Jeff, and this is show number 1. So you are in the prime positions. Listen up. Position. Hey, we're coming to you right now. I said that. This is the first episode, audio format. And of course, we're going to switch it to listening audio. And then on November 7th, we introduced the new version of the audio. Trying to get that Nova feel to it. That was the idea.
Welcome to Geekazine, a weekly.
And then what we did was we jumped up in a brand new intro. Check this out over on the Geekazine Weekly Podcast. Wow, my beard wasn't that big. That's not too far away. That was March 2nd. Look at that difference. And then finally, we made the switch. And we got a brand new show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thank you very much. This is Geek Smack. I gotta take this out. Like this little echo that kind of gets annoying. But anyway, we started on 2007, October 1st. The show, the Geekazine wasn't even around. It was called The Show. And for about 4 weeks, I ran it as a show. And I set up a contest. And even though I didn't get anybody to participate in the contest, this is a brand new podcast, I did come up with some ideas, and therefore I did a lot of searching. The big thing was I told myself if I was going to do something, it could not have a footprint, and which is tough because when you create something like that, you've got to have something very unique. Because if it's not unique, then you get lost in a shuffle. And then when I came up with Geekazine, thinking of a magazine, because everybody was saying e-zine. It's like e-zine was just, no, it's not right. So I created A-zine, and I created a brand from A-zine. Geekazine, Dorkazine, Sportazine, Wickazine, and so on and so forth. So from that, I changed the name to the Geekazine Weekly Podcast, which went for the next 3 years. We went through 160 episodes. And I made some changes. And then at one point it was like, I'm doing more video. And in fact, let me show you the first video. This was episode 18, halfway through. I only did 1/2 of the video because at the time, YouTube was only taking 15-minute submission. Or actually 10-minute submission at that time. I could not do anything with that. So I then created this. And so
all right, let's
this is me back in 2008.
And we're going to go back to the PC world here. And basically...
And I was running off the G4, which is back here.
If you have a YouTube account...
Pretty cool. I'm just sitting there talking, and this was about
on YouTube.
See, what was this about? I can't hear it right now.
Of course, I don't know if you heard about this, but there was a woman earlier this week that posted on Craigslist.
Oh, yeah, the Craigslist good.
And how silly is that? Really, how
so yeah, that was me back in 2008. I was living in a different location. and I was doing my shows
what do
up
people
in
think nowadays?
in the spare
It
room.
just doesn't make any
And
sense. Well, this also
and
is an article
that
over on
did
PC
I
World
did
that
great.
talks about it. And
That was a lot
basically,
of fun.
it's saying that
And
the
I
police
had
are
a very
investigating
shorter
a
beard.
video
Once
clip
again, we can
that was
make
posted
the
on
difference.
YouTube, which
The
appears
difference.
to show a
Anyway.
motorcyclist driving
So-
at 125 miles per hour.
But then that
on
brings
one
us
of
to
their
today
motorways.
and to here, wherever we are. We are on episode number 200 of the Geekazine Weekly Podcast. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I'd like to thank you. Take this time to thank everybody that's watched, everybody that's listened to Geekazine ever since the first day on October 1st, 2007. Now we're 4 years later. Next year, we're going to be celebrating 5 years of Geekazine. So we're going to be pushing that run. The Day in Tech History is going to be making a bump. And actually, I did a lot of work over on Day in Tech History, and it's now going to become, we're going to be pushing for some new ideas. Of course, started a new site called Bacon Cat, bacon-cat.com. Of course, you go over to youtube.com/Bacon Cat Rocks. Then you go from there. And you'll find out more about that. Geekazine is switched that YouTube channel back to Geekazine. So if you go over to youtube.com/Geekazine, the old channel's still there, but the first video you'll see is, hey, we're moved. We'd go over to Geekazine to subscribe there. And as I go, I got to take those videos and actually change the annotations so that I can do that there and switch that over to Geekazine. But in 4 years come next month, Geekazine will be around, and 200 shows. It's awesome. So I'd like to thank everybody who's contributed on that. Like I said, Norbert Davis did a spot there. I know Paul Muller from the Caffeination podcast. He submitted some stuff at times. Then we had the Gadget Guy, which I actually talked to in a hangout the other day. Bill, thank you very much for coming out to the hangout and submitting stuff over at Geekazine and Geeksmack and the Geekazine Weekly Podcast. We've had a lot of sponsors in our 200 show run, from anything from Rhapsody to Netflix, to Go to Assist, Citrix and Go to Assist, Go to Meeting, Go to Assist Express. We didn't do Go to My PC, which is also a great program. All those Citrix programs. Of course, Carbonite. And yeah, we did do, we had Mosey and we had Carbonite. And that's a long story between that. We won't get into why I made the switch or anything like that. But all the other sponsors, we had Audible, we had Luxor, we've had, oh my goodness, we've had a great list of sponsors that have come onto the show and helped out get me to 200. So I'd like to thank those people for helping me out there. And of course, visit their products and sponsors and stuff like that and go from there. So 200 shows, that's no small potato, I'll tell you that right now. Been a lot of work and building, going from a room up in a house down to a geek basement to a geek bar to building an actual set with pictures. I mean, I got Albert Einstein right here, Robert Scoville's right here. We've got the group at Tech Podcast, Todd Cochran, Andy McCaskey. We've got the group from Microsoft back there. We've got Kat Schwartz over there, who I met a couple years ago at CES. And of course, more pictures coming very, very soon. So thanks for everybody for helping out with Geekazine, Geeksmack, Geekazine Weekly Podcast. I appreciate it. Download the shows. Tell all your friends. Go over to youtube.com/Geekazine. Put stars there. Go over to your Roku box, star it up, and give me some feedback, what you like, what you don't like about it. So episode 300 becomes even cooler on there. So anyway, that does it for Geekazine, Geeksmack for this week. If you liked what you liked and you didn't like what you didn't like, let me know over at Twitter, Geekazine, or geekazine@gmail.com. We also have the phone number of 608-205-4378. That actually did change during the 200 episodes too. But of course, that's where you can go. Once again, thanks to Motherboard Gifts for my cool little business card holder there. I'm going to be taking that out with me to San Francisco. I will be in San Francisco next week for TechCrunch Disrupt with Adria Richards. We will be doing that, so no show next week, but then the week after, we'll be back with episode number 201. That's it for the Geekazine Weekly Podcast. My name is Jeffrey Powers. We will see you next time, and thanks a lot for watching. Take care.